know, I have a major sweet tooth, so I have an awesome recipe for you guys today that do have a sweet tooth for something that satisfies that, but it also brings you some health benefits and it's pretty guilt-free. So today what I'm going to make for you are chocolate fudge truffles. They are no bake and simple to make with few ingredients. So what you're going to need for this recipe, today I'm going to be using the MTS chocolate whey. You can get that at Tiger Fitness and use my discount code Kara. However, you could use no bake, you could use cookies and cream, or you could make this a whole different truffle and do some other flavors like PB fluff. But for today, we're doing the chocolate fudge, so I'm going to use chocolate. We are going to use some natural unsweetened cocoa. You're going to need to have 1 large avocado. So you might have to go to the store for this if you don't have it lying around. And you want to make sure it's ripe. So to make sure an avocado is ripe if you're going to the store and buying it, just give it the little squeeze test and see that you can squeeze it and smush it just a little bit. If it's really hard, you won't be able to really work it into this recipe as well. So give it a little squeeze, make sure it's a little bit soft. Today we are going to use some vanilla bean paste. This is something I have never used before, but you can go ahead and find it right in the aisle that's got all your baking goods and seasonings and spices. So found this next to the vanilla extract. So you should be able to find this in any of your grocery stores. If you don't have that laying around, which I did not, there are some recipes online to make this homemade using some stuff you might have laying around at home. So go ahead and Google that if you don't want to buy this. It was a little pricey. I am going to use as a sweetener this Better Stevia liquid sweetener, dark chocolate. I don't expect you to have this lying around. You can use any sweetener you want. This recipe does use a liquid sweetener, which is a little bit sweeter than, say, if you just use stevia by itself. But you absolutely could just use stevia or Splenda or sugar, whatever you like. Maybe honey. I know some people like honey or agave. And our last ingredient here, we're going to use some plain Greek yogurt. That's really all it takes. Toppings for this recipe are optional. So let's get started. I've already weighed out in my bowl. You're going to want to use 3/4 a cup of Greek yogurt, which ends up being 170 grams. Next, you're going to add in your avocado. I've cleaned out the flesh of an entire large avocado. It ends up being about 145 grams. Avocados are a huge source of nutrition. They have tons of different benefits. They are higher in fat, so they may get a bad stigma from that, but they're high in monounsaturated fats. So those are actually your heart healthy fats that can help lower cholesterol levels and actually prevent heart disease. Also filled with tons of nutrition. You get B vitamins in here, vitamin K, lots of fiber. Awesome thing to add into your recipes. So we're going to go ahead and add that right into our Greek yogurt mix. Next, we are going to do 1 teaspoon of the liquid sweetener, my dark chocolate stuff. So this is going to make it nice and chocolatey. Again, we're going to use 1 teaspoon of our vanilla bean paste. You can get it open. Okay. 1 teaspoon of that. Now what we're going to do, if you have a hand mixer, you can use that. I'm going to use my electric mixer to mix this mixture up. If you don't have either, go ahead and use a fork or something, but you really want to get it to a buttery consistency. So I'm going to go ahead and blend this up before we add our other ingredients. Okay, so I've blended that mixture together and you've kind of got this green yogurt looking consistency. And we're going to go ahead and add our dry ingredients now. Set this down here. So let's start with our chocolate MTS protein. We're going to add 3/4 a cup of that protein into our mixture here. Do this by the scoop. So it ends up being a little more than 1 full scoop of protein, about 1.5 scoops. Okay, so dump that right in there. Okay, and we are going to add 2 tablespoons of the Hershey's cocoa. This gives it that nice, these are going to be so chocolatey, so for any chocolate lovers out there, you guys are going to love this. And actually cocoa is good for your health too. You get the dark cocoa, the darker the cocoa, unsweetened, has some antioxidants in it that are also good for your heart health. All right, what's next? The only other thing we have, I'm gonna add a dash of sea salt. That's optional, but it always helps bring out those flavors. Now that we've got everything added in our bowl, go ahead and blend that up again until you get like a buttercream consistency. So I'm gonna use my electric mixer again and blend that up. All right guys, so I blended this all up and it still looked a little thin. You want it like a buttercream frosting consistency. So I did add about another half scoop of protein in there and whipped it up. So when you are done with it, it is still gonna be a little wet, a little watery looking. What you're gonna need to do is we're gonna first drop these onto a cookie sheet of some type with either parchment paper or aluminum foil, something so they don't stick. And we're gonna go ahead and I like to use a tablespoon, it makes it easy, and just kind of drop one at a time. You can see it's a little bit runny still. What we're gonna do is put these down on the cookie sheet, put it in the fridge for about an hour. And after they've chilled for an hour, we'll then be able to kind of roll them and add toppings to them. So I will see you guys in an hour. All right guys, so I had rolled up my chocolate truffles and put them in the fridge. I definitely underestimated how long this recipe needed to chill, so I left them in there for about 3 hours. And the consistency is still a little thin, so what I did is I took them out, I added my toppings to it, and what I'm gonna do is throw them in the freezer for the night. What I would recommend you guys doing, if you're able to plan for it, I would throw the batter in the fridge overnight and then roll them into the truffles the next day, and then maybe even pop them in the freezer. Or if you don't feel like waiting, because I know you're gonna lick the spoon and this stuff tastes amazing, you could just eat it like pudding if you want. So what I did, toppings are optional. I rolled some in mini chocolate chips and rolled some in coconut, and then my husband is addicted to sprinkles because they're macro free. So we did some of those. So toppings are limitless. If you don't feel like waiting for the chilling process, you could just eat it as pudding, because let me tell you, these taste phenomenal. Macros are, for the truffles, they're on point. So for only 2 truffles, it ends up being about 3 grams of fat, 7 carbs, no, not even that, like 5 carbs. Depending on what protein you use, I use the MTS way, and what am I missing? Carbs, fat, protein. Protein ends up being about 14 grams. So pretty good macros, can't complain. Just gotta tweak on the chilling process a little bit, but otherwise tastes delicious. Hope you guys like this recipe. Give it a try and keep checking back for more.
I'm just gonna tell you guys, it's not a game.
Oh, that's what's up.